Auzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama barakta ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. रब शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बना ज़िदना इल्मा या मुक़ल्लिबुल क़ुलूब सब्बित क़ल्बी अला दीनिक आमीन. Today we'll start Surah Luqman, and this surah has 34 verses in it, and this is a Makki surah. We'll do it in two parts inshallah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Alif Lam Mim. Haruf Muqattat. Tilka Ayatul Kitabil Hakim. These are verses of the wise book. Hudam wa rahmatan lil muhsinin. A guidance and mercy for those who do good. Allazina yuqimuna salata wa yu'tuna zakata wa hum bil akhirati hum yuqinun. Those who establish Salah, pay Zakah, and are convinced about the hereafter. Ulaika ala hudam mir rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. These people are upon guidance from their Rabb, and they are the truly successful ones. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned that Surah Luqman was revealed in Makkah, while another narration of his states that verses 26 to 29 were revealed in Medina. Allah begins the surah by using these are the verses of the wise book, which is a guidance and mercy for those who do good. Although the Quran is a guidance for all of mankind, it is those with good hearts and sincerity who will accept the guidance and practice accordingly. Describing those who do good, Allah says that they are those who establish Salah, pay Zakah, and are convinced about the hereafter. Salah and Zakah follow Iman as the fundamental pillars of Islam. They are followed by fasting and Hajj, but only the two have been mentioned because they are more important. When a person is particular about Salah and Zakah while also being convinced about the advent of the hereafter, all the other aspects of Islam will be easy for him. Allah ascribes those who do good further when He says, those people are upon guidance from their Rabb, and they are the truly successful ones. These verses have been discussed in the commentary of verse 5 of Surah Baqarah. Because of the fact that this surah makes mention of zakah, certain commentators are of the opinion that this surah was revealed in Medina, because zakat become obligatory only in Medina. However, other commentators maintain that the surah was revealed in Makkah and the zakat was already made obligatory in Makkah. They say that only the detailed law pertaining to zakah were revealed in Medina. However, if zakat is interpreted to mean normal charity as discussed in verse 39 of the previous surah, there would be no debate about the place of revelation. Now I'll recite from verse number 6 till 9. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْتَرِي لَهْوَ الْحَدِيثِ لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ وَيَتَّخِذَهَا هُزُوًا أُولَئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا وَلَيًّا مُسْتَكْبِرًا كَأَنْ لَمْ يَسْمَعْهَا كَأَنَّ فِي أُذُنِهِ وَقْرًا فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ النَّعِيمِ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقًّا وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. Translation: Verse number 6. There are some people who purchase futile discourse to deviate from Allah's path without knowledge, making a mockery of it Allah's path. There shall be a humiliating punishment for these people. 7. When our verses are recited to them, they arrogantly turn away as if they have not heard them, as if there is a prop in their ears. Convey the tidings of an excruciating punishment to them. 8. For those who believe and do good deeds, there are the blissful gardens of Jannah. 9. Where they will abide forever. Allah has made a true promise, and He is the mighty, the wise. After asserting that the Quran is a guidance and mercy for those who accept it, Allah discussed those people who oppose the Quran and ridicule it. Allah discusses those people who purchase futile discourse in an effort to turn people away from the Quran. The term futile discourse refers to anything that distracts a person from Allah's remembrance and involves him in play and sport. Hazrat Hassan Basri Rahmullah has mentioned that futile discourse is anything that distracts one away from worshipping Allah and thinking about it. Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud Raziyallah Ta'ala anhu and Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas Raziyallah Ta'ala anhu have interpreted futile discourse as magic, while Hazrat Mahul Rahmullah is of the opinion that it refers to hiring female dancers. Many narrations have been reported with regard to the circumstances surrounding the revelation of this verse. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas Raziyallah Ta'ala anhu reports that an arch enemy of Islam by the name of Nazar bin Haris purchased a singing slave girl. Whenever he heard about anyone who intended to accept Islam, he would send the person to this girl, who was instructed to feed the man well and to sing for him. He would then ask the person whether this was better or the salah, fasting and fighting in jihad, which Islam required for a Muslim. By this means, he persuaded them to change their minds. The verse makes reference to this incident. Another narration reports that Nazar often traveled to Persia, where he brought books containing fanciful Persian tales. He would recite these to the Quraysh and tell them that he narrated these fanciful tales of Persia, Persian kings like Rustam, and tales of Alexander of Macedonia, while Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them only about the Ad and the Samud. So saying, he mocked the narratives contained in the Quran. It was then that Allah revealed the above verse. Other commentators mention that the verse was revealed with reference to a person called Ibn Khattal, who brought some singing slave girls who sang songs that ridiculed Islam and the Muslims. The above interpretation of futile discourse by Hazrat Hassan Basri Rahmullah is corroborated by a hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that every futile act may be regarded as part of falsehood, except the following three seemingly playful acts. 1. Archery. 2. Training one's horse. Both these are necessary for jihad. 3. Playful behavior with one's wife. Futile discourse would include all acts that distract one from salah and zikr, such as gambling, sport, etc. These will therefore be forbidden in the Sharia. If Allah has granted someone a beautiful voice, it should rather be used to recite the Quran or to recite some thought-provoking poetry, reminding people of the hereafter. It should never be used to sing romantic and other songs, which are sung with musical instruments. Hazrat Jabir Raziallah Ta'ala anhu narrates that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, music causes hypocrisy to grow in the heart, just as rain causes crops to flourish. narrated by Mishkat, page 411. The person gifted with a good voice should not sing even permissibly poetry in the presence of women. Bukhari reports a hadith in which a Sahabi by the name of Anjasha Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu was singing the customary verses of poetry called Hadi, on journey to urge the camel to trot faster. He was singing in a beautiful voice because of which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, "O Anjasha, stop, do not break the glass." The narrator of the hadith, Hazrat Qatada Raziyallahu Ta'ala anha, says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was referring to the women who are usually affected by sweet singing. It is unfortunate that music has become a way of life for people today. It seems as if people cannot digest their food without listening to music. Old and young are involved in this evil, which causes them to miss their salah. Even people from respectable homes consider it a virtue to teach their children to sing, dance, and play musical instruments. Hazrat Abu Umama Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu reports from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that singing slave girls must not be purchased or sold. They should not be taught to sing, and the money earned by this trade is haram. He mentioned that the verse, "There are some people who purchase futile discourse to deviate from Allah's path," was revealed in this regard. Hazrat Abu Sahaya Rahimullah reports that he once asked Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu about this verse. Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu took an oath in Allah's name that the verse condemns music. Narrated by Malumat-e-Tanzil, volume 3, page 490. People have dug their own graves of destruction because of their deep involvement in music. It is tragic that they then refuse to acknowledge that the calamities they suffer are a result of their sins. Even if they are forced to admit this, they fail to mend their ways. The reason for this is that they have all become slaves of their passions. Hazrat Abu Amir Ashari Rahimullah reports that Rasulullah Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu reports that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "There will certainly be such people in my ummah who will make fornication, wearing of silk for men, lacquer and musical instruments halal. There will also be people living by a mountain whose flock of animals will reach them by the evening. When someone will approach them for a necessity, they will bid him to return the following day, but they will all be destroyed before the following day when the mountain will crush them. Some of these people will be transfigured into pigs and monkeys until the day of Qiyamah." Narrated by Mishkat, page 456. Hazrat Abu Umama Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu reports that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Allah has sent me as a mercy and a guide for both worlds, and He has commanded me to destroy musical instruments, idols, the cross, and all practices of ignorance." Narrated by Mishkat, page 318. Muslims should now realize the error of their ways when to render their poems in the praise of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They utilize the same musical instruments which he wanted to destroy. Worse still is that they think that they will be rewarded for this, while Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was sent to destroy these instruments. These Muslims, while the nights away playing and listening to the sounds of these instruments. They do this in the name of love for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yet they forsake their salah in the process. Are they pleasing Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or Shaitan? Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Bells are the flutes of Shaitan." narrated by Mishkat, page 338. The beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in another hadith, the angels of mercy do not accompany the party traveling with bells or dogs, narrated by Mishkat, page 379. Once a girl entered the presence of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha wearing jewelry on her feet which jingled. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha instructed that the girl be removed from her presence until the jewelry was removed. She then said she heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the angels of mercy do not enter a house where there are bells. Music is the practice of shaitan. It is for this reason that one will find music rife in places where shaitan is souvenir, like the temples and churches. It is practice of certain saints commonly called peers that they have to have drums and other musical instruments played in their gatherings and at gravesites. They claim that the senior saints approved of this, whereas the same saints they quote actually prohibited gatherings where musical instruments, beardless lads, and women are present. Even if some saint did condone the deed, it will be rejected because it contradicts the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Islam does not tolerate even jewelry and garlands that make musical sounds. How can it tolerate musical gatherings? Hazrat Nafil Raziallah Ta'ala reports that he was more traveling with Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar Raziallah Ta'ala anhu when they heard the sound of a flute. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar Raziallah Ta'ala anhu immediately covered his ear and walked away from the path. It was only after proceeding some distant way that he asked Hazrat Nafil Rahimullah whether the sound was still audible. When he was informed that the sound was no longer audible, he removed his finger from his ear, saying, I was once traveling with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when we heard the sound of a flute. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did exactly as I had done. Hazrat Nafi Razillah Ta'ala was a youngster at that time. Narrated by Mishkat, page 411. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited liquor, gambling, drums, and bira, an intoxicating drink brewed in Africa. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said that all intoxicants are haram. Narrated by Mishkat, page 318. The circumstances surrounding the revelation of the above verse denote that music is the worst of those futilities which distract one from Allah's remembrance. The hadiths condemning music have also been quoted above so that no person can ever regard any type of music as a virtue, especially kawwali. It should also be borne in mind that the time spent in pastimes could have been fruitfully utilized for the recitation of the Quran or some other act of devotion. Some categories of futile discourse are haram, like gambling and music, while other may be permissible. They are a waste of time, like listening or permissible poems. Hazrat Abu Musa Ashri Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu has reported from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that only sinner play chess, and that is the category of falsehood which Allah detests, narrated by Mishkat, page 387. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has mentioned that the person who play backgammon has disobeyed Allah and His Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, narrated by Mishkat, page 386. Hazrat Abu Huraira Raziyallahu Ta'ala reports that upon seeing a person chase a pigeon as a sport, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commented, "This is one shaitan running after another shaitan." The hadiths do not make mention of playing cards because it was not prevalent during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is haram to play cards if gambling is involved. If no gambling is involved, it will be permitted only if it does not distract from one from Allah's remembrance, which is extremely rare. Although the verse uses the word purchase, it may refer to any exchange of things like the substitution of one act for another. As Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, these are the people who have purchased error in the price of guidance. The verse would therefore also refer to people who substitute the recitation of the Quran with futile activities. Verse number 10 and 11. خلق السماوات بغير أمد ترونها وألقى في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بكم وبث فيها من كل دابة وأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج كريم. Allah created the skies without any visible pillar, has placed mountains on earth so that it does not shake with you, and has spread every type of animal on earth. We have sent rain from the sky, thereby growing every species of wonderful plant. هذا خلق الله فأروني ماذا خلق الذين من دونه بل الظالمون في ظلال مبين. This is Allah's creation, so show me what those besides Him have created, but the oppressors are in a distant deviation. Allah created the skies without any visible pillars. The immense expanse of the sky is suspended without any pillar. It is Allah's immense power that keeps the sky in place without collapsing. It is Allah who has placed mountains on earth so that it does not shake with you. If it were not for the mountains lending stability on the earth, the water of the oceans and colonial winds would have caused the earth to shudder and shake insensibly. This would wreak havoc on earth and make habitants impossible. Although Allah could have held the earth stable without the mountains, He has kept them in place as a mean to achieve this end. Of course, the verse pertains to the general stability of the earth and will not mean that the earth can never convolute when Allah wants it to. When He desires, Allah can make the earth shudder with earthquakes, the worst of which will take place on the day of Qiyamah, as mentioned in numerous verses of the Quran, like Surah Zilzal, and the number of the surah is 99 in the Quran. Allah has also spread every type of animal on earth throughout the earth. Man may find these animals wherever he is and use them for his living. Allah then says, "We have sent rain from the sky, thereby growing every species of wonderful plant. This is another of Allah's great bounties for which man cannot express enough gratitude." Allah then declares, "This is Allah's creation. So show me what those who people bake as gods, besides Him, have created." The false gods of the mushrikeen are helpless and dependent on Allah. The combined effort of all these gods and their devotees cannot create a single fly, which Allah creates in overwhelming abundance. Therefore, only Allah can be worshipped. However, notwithstanding this, the oppressors are in a distant deviation. Now I will recite from verse number 12 till 15. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. We certainly granted wisdom to Luqman, inspiring him to express gratitude to Allah. Whoever will be grateful to Allah expresses gratitude for his own benefit. As for him who is ungrateful, Allah is certainly independent, most worthy of praise. Verse number 13. وإذ قال لقمان لبنيه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. The time deserves mention when Luqman advised his son, saying, O my beloved son, do not ascribe partners to Allah. Without doubt, polytheism is the worst injustice. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَلَدِهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا على وهن وفصاله في آمين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. We empathetically commanded man with regard to his parents. His mother carried him in weakness upon weakness, and his weaning is after 2 years. The command was express gratitude to me and to your parents. Your return will be to me. Verse number 15. وَإِنْ جَاهَدَكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا وَاتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ مَنْ أَنَابَ إِلَيَّ ثُمَّ إِلَيَّ مَرْجِعُكُمْ فَأُنَبِّئُكُم بِمَا كُنتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Translation. If your parents, force you to ascribe such partners to me about which you have no knowledge, then do not obey them but cordially associate with them in this world. Follow the path of him who turns to me thereafter. Your return will be to me, and I will inform you of what you used to do. Who was Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam? Whatever has been narrated about the ancestry of Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam has been derived from the Bani Israel. The narrations are there for Israeliyat. Ruhul Mani states that he was the son of Hazrat Ayyub alayhi salam's sister, while another narration states that he was the son of Hazrat Ayyub alayhi salam's maternal aunt. Hazrat Luqman's mother was a lady called Baura, or according to others, Anka. Some scholars also say that he was one of Azar's children, which makes him Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam's brother. It is reported that he lived for 1,000 years and also learned from Hazrat Dawud alayhi salam. Hazrat Waqidi Rahmullah says that he lived in the period between Hazrat Isa alayhi salam and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. A difference of opinion also exists about his status. While some scholars regard him as a Nabi, other claims that he was not one. Certain scholars also say that he originated from Africa. Many maintain that he was a freed slave, slave, while others deny this. Allah knows best. The following are opinions about his occupation. He was a carpenter. 2. He made bedding and pillows. 3. He was a tailor. 4. He was a shepherd. 5. He was a judge among the Bani Israel. After quoting the above, the author of Ruhul Mani writes that all these statements cannot be authentic. Which is certain is that Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam was a pious and wise man who was not a Nabi. Since he was not a Nabi, he was either guided by divine inspiration or by a Nabi. Many words of wisdom had flowed from his lips, which are quoted in books. The Muwatta of Imam Malik Rahimullah reports that Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam was once asked about the reason for his wisdom and virtue. He replied that he attained his status by practicing three things that are: 1. Truthfulness in speech, 2. Returning trust, and 3. Abstaining from deeds and speech that are futile, narrated by Mishkat, page 445. Allah says, we certainly granted wisdom to Luqman. As Abdullah bin Abbas ta'ala interprets wisdom to mean a keen intelligence and understanding, while Imam Raghib salam says that it refers to an understanding the creation and the inspiration to do good deeds. Imam Razi Rahmullah says that it refers to putting his knowledge into practice. Other commentators say that it implies that he was steadfast in knowledge and deed, narrated by Ruhul Mani. Allah inspired him to express gratitude to Allah, that is, for all Allah's bounties, especially that of wisdom. Allah continues to say, whoever will be grateful to Allah, express gratitude for his own benefit. When a person expresses gratitude to Allah, he will be rewarded for it, while it is no favor to Allah. Allah says in a verse of Surah Ibrahim, if you show gratitude, then I will definitely give you more. And if you are ungrateful, then indeed my punishment is severe. Verse number 7. Allah continues, as for him who is ungrateful, Allah is certainly independent, most worthy of praise. Allah will suffer no harm or loss if someone does not show gratitude to him. Allah needs nothing from his creation because he is worthy of all praise, whether people accept the fact or not. Allah Ta'ala then says that it is well worth recalling the time when Luqman advised his son, saying, O my beloved son, do not ascribe partners to Allah without doubt. Polytheism is the worst injustice. The Arabic word zulm, injustice, oppressor, literally refers to placing something where it should not be. Shirk, polytheism, is the worst zulm because the perpetrator offers his worship to his false gods instead of offering it to Allah, who is most worthy of worship. We empathetically command man with regard to his parents. Man is supposed to treat his parents with utmost honor and respect. Tending to their envy need, man should bear in mind that he was once a weak and fragile child who was unable to do anything for himself. It was then that his mother attended to his every need despite her own weakness and needs. His mother carried him in her womb in weakness upon weakness. An expectant mother grows weaker in every day that she bears her child. In Surah Bani Israel, verse number 24, Allah teaches man the supplication that he should make in favor of his parents. The dua is, O my Rabb, show mercy to them as they have raised me merciful when I was young. Rabbirhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. And his weaning is after 2 years. After the ordeal of delivering the child, the parents have to tend to the nourishment of the child. Again, they are faced with difficulties and expenses. While the mother exerts herself to feed and care for the child, and the father exerts himself earning a living for them, as the child has only to sleep. When a child falls ill, the parents sacrifice their own comfort and sleep to put the child at rest, taking him to their bosoms in an effort to calm him. This is not even the tip of the iceberg of hardship that parents endure for their children in their infancy. Thereafter, the baby grows into a young child, still dependent on his parents for everything. Keeping all of this in mind, a child ought to have a burning desire to offer comfort and peace to his parents when he grows up. Man's sense of honor demands that he makes an effort to repay some of their efforts as a token of gratitude. Of course, man cannot forget the greater gratitude which he owes to Allah, who has created him and has placed love and affection into his parents' heart. It is for this reason that Allah commands man to express gratitude to me and to your parents. Your return will be to me. If your parents, force you to ascribe such partners to me about which you have no knowledge, then do not obey them. Shirk has been passed on from generations to generation, each person claiming to be following his forefather. Allah cautions people against this blind following. A person should utilize his intelligence to determine the fallacy of shirk and should not follow the foolish trend set by others. Although children must obey their parents, they must not obey them when they issue an instruction to contravene Allah's command. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the certain irrespective of who it is, must not be obeyed when their command entails disobedience to the Creator. Although the parents will not be obeyed under such circumstances, nevertheless, Allah adds, but cordially associate with them in this world. A Muslim child must always serve his or her parents even though they may be kafir. Follow the path of him who turns to me. It is within the nature of man that he is influenced by company. Evil company has evil effects, while good company produces good effects. It is therefore necessary for a Muslim to keep good company so that he or she may be encouraged to do good. Thereafter, your return will be to me, and I will inform you of what you used to do. Allah will then reward or punish people according to their deeds. Obedience to parents has been discussed in some details in the commentaries of the verse 23 and 24 of Surah Bani Israel, and at the beginning of the Surah An-Kabut, verse number 8. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.